right now.
And they're off. The track is green. Pulling into the pits. You can bring it out. Here we are. And Ryan is off, the track, he's in the dirt, and he's really getting himself.
Both on the outside there, you get their speed, no, it changes.
And he's also a motorcyclist up there.
Fantastic time from him so far. Fastest time in qualifying up to now. So let's see if anybody's in a position to beat that time.
And this is the TTASA eSports Gran Turismo Sport Digital Cup 2020.
Live. Oh boy.
And a very special good evening to each and every one of you, and we welcome you to the first semi-final round taking place right here live on YouTube in the eSport, the TTASA eSport Gran Turismo Sport Digital Cup 2020. We welcome each and every one of you, and we thank you very much for being with us this evening. And of course, joining me once again in commentary is none other than the incomparable Luke de Nobrega. Luke,
what's up, guys? What's up? Good night.
Good to have you as well, Luke. And of course, in the technical chair, we have with us once again, Mr. Mark Pogson. Mark, we want to welcome you. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
Good. We're just making sure that Mark is here with us. So this is the first semi-final, ladies and gentlemen, and it's taking place at what is known as Interlagos. Interlagos is that famous Brazilian F1 track. And to share some more information about the course and what the drivers will be going through this evening, I turn you over to Luke.
Okay, as Rose stating, Interlagos is the name of the track, but the formal name of the track is the Auto Jose Carlos Place. Known as the Interlagos. So this track was named after Brazilian one driver, Carlos Passe, who died in a plane crash in 1977. So the track has a very rich history and pays tribute to that driver. The track is comprised of over 15 turns that are of unique design. Drivers are getting a chance to experience a real track, and hopefully in the next 16 laps we see who qualify into the actual final. So again, we'll have only 4 drivers moving forward from this into the finals, and then from place 5 to 10 those drivers will have to compete in the repechage race. We'll have a very great race tonight as we see the drivers who qualified into this quarterfinal, into the semi-final, fight it out for their place in the final. Mark, tell us more about the track.
This is a lovely track, actually. It's a very competitive track. There are a lot of places for people to make errors and other faster drivers to capitalize on mistakes like that. So very, very technical course, a lot of corners. This car is going to be very, very hard on people's tires. Those on controllers are going to struggle to maintain their tires and last for the amount of laps that they want to last. Whether you want to try the 1 pit or 2 pit stop strategy, that's up to you. That's up how well you can manage your tires. It's been said that the wheel and pedal drivers will have an advantage in the tire wear category. However, we do have drivers like Brandon that are exceptionally fast and alien fast on a controller. So I don't even know if that whole steering wheel stigma actually applies to him.
Thank you, Mark. As we're going in there, as Mark just gave a little light, we have one driver who will be competing on a gamepad, and that is Brandon Driftbrad Steele. He'll be one to watch as he is the 2nd place holder in this race. So he'll be on P2 with a great position entering the first corner. In P1 we do have Garvin Daniel, who's here as bad guy Cali. In P3 we have Neil G, the fastest doctor in the east, west, north, south, everywhere in Trinidad and Tobago. I'd say he's the fastest doctor, hands down. That's Neil Gopi Singh. In 4th position, we have Stephen Hussein, otherwise known as Island Paradise, the Mazda Banton himself. We might see him actually show us his speed in the Mazda tonight, but who knows? We are still yet to see what he'll be pulling out for the actual race. As drivers may be in practice now, they can still change their car choice from practice up until the points that they must enter for the race lobby to begin. From there, we also have Daniel Prasad. That is Danny Boy, with the man with the CS3 Lancer with the turbo. And he has no relation to the guy right behind him, Adrian Prasad, who's Adriano 7910. Right?
Yes, Luke, thanks very much. And of course, next in the lineup is David Lyons. David Lyons, known as Trini Lyo. David Lyons, as we would have told you before, is one of those competitive drivers in circuit racing in Trinidad and Tobago. Next thing we have Dylan Ali. Dylan Ali is the current competition chair, former president of the Trinidad and Tobago Karting Association. Next to him in the lineup, in position number 9, is Jonathan Bash, and his title or tag is It's Alive 69. Jonathan Bash is It's Alive 69. I'm sorry, but Dylan Ali is also Dylan 163. Dylan Ali 163. Jonathan Bash is next in the lineup. It's Alive 69. Christian Alcantara, better known as Peanut Butter, the youngest driver, the youngest qualifier in the series thus far. Peanut Butter is one to look out for, as he is the youngest driver on the grid. Kyle Paul is next. The Renaissance is his tag. And David Jacobs is the backmarker, rounding up your lineup. We are now making efforts to have the drivers get into the lobby to begin the event. The event should start in just about 3 minutes once everything goes well. And of course, we want to take the time to thank our sponsors, Motul Lubricant, the title sponsors for this event. Motul Lubricants, we thank them. And of course, without them, we would not have been able to make this possible, along with our other sponsors, Garage Fresh, Rent a Studio, TriniTuner.com, and Track Speed Simulators, all making an effort to make sure that we can bring this discipline to you live this evening. Speaking about the discipline, we do have that special interview that is coming up just in the break between this semi-final and the second one. Second one starts at 8:30. So we will be joining you again just around 8:15 when this one wraps up, to be able to bring that special interview to you. And that special interview is being done this evening with none other than the Vice President of TTASA, Mr. Ashton Elegon, sharing some valuable insights about what's happening with regard to this championship series, whether we will be able to see it in the future, and sharing some information as it relates to what are TTASA's plans for the resumption of motorsport in Trinidad and Tobago. So please stay tuned for that. Lots of information to share with you, along with a lot of racing action that we are going to be sharing with you as well. We also want to say a special good evening, guys, to none other than Dr. Michael Babulal. Dr. Babulal is the former chairman of the trustees of TTASA, remains a trustee at the moment, had a little medical issue that needed to be addressed recently, but Dr. Babulal is in fine health and recovering nicely, and we want to thank him very much for his avid participation and avid support of this initiative. Dr. Babulal is of the view that this initiative is a fantastic initiative, and being one of the legacy members of the sport in Trinidad and Tobago, being one of the people responsible for bringing the FIA to Trinidad and Tobago, we're very, very happy to have him and his family involved in this event. Fun fact, Dr. Babulal is the grandfather of Shahinder Singh. Shahinder we would have seen in the quarterfinals. He had a bit of rough luck in his quarterfinal performance and managed to get eliminated, but we look forward to seeing him in future events. Dr. Babulal also shares with me that he does have another grandson who is just as competitive, and we will be seeing him in future events as well. We're being told that there's 6 Volkswagen Beetles in this race. That means something. Mark, tell us what that means.
Well, that's not quite too unexpected for me. The Beetle, being a short wheelbase car, is really, really good with the quartering abilities. It's good on tire wear, and it's good on fuel. Has a really good short shift ratio gearbox, so it gives you a lot of opportunity to choose gears and whatever circumstance you are exiting a corner. It is a wise choice. So as long as the 911 is also a wise choice for this car, as quite a few others are. But no, I'm not surprised to see the Beetle here at all.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mark. We have 1 more minute to start. 1 more minute to start, ladies and gentlemen, to get these first semi-final round underway this evening. The TTASA eSports Gran Turismo Sport Digital Cup 2020 edition being brought to you live. And if you're on the live feed at the moment, we encourage you to like and share the live feed. Send the information out to those of you who are not actually on the feed at the moment. Let's get that viewership up and create some encouragement for these young drivers who are involved in the sport of sim racing in Trinidad and Tobago. We are getting ready for that start, and that start should be coming momentarily.
I just saw Brandon Driftbrat Steele in the R35 Skyline, otherwise known as Godzilla, and I'm believing that he's out here to crush some bugs. I believe he's one of those drivers who expect to be somewhere up to the top of the pack. And we also see the Aston Martin ERS bad guys. So again, even though the Beetle's very famous, these guys are trying different strategies to finish at the front of this pack. And clearly those two drivers have been showing for the entirety of this race that they have the pace to take it to the end.
This is, ladies and gentlemen, the start of the race. The drivers are going on their warm-up lap. This is a rolling start. It's not a standing start, a rolling start. So the drivers are going to have to come in their formation to get the race started. And once the formation is clean, they will get started. So as far as we can tell,
it's all good.
It's all good. It's all good. So bad guy
for the rolling
Kali,
start, I believe. Go ahead.
Bad guy Kali seems to be in the lead at the moment, or he's making his way because he is in the pole position, followed by Brandon Driftbrat Steele in that Godzilla. So
third place we have Neil G.
Correct? Yeah, go ahead, Luke. Go ahead.
So in third place we have Neil J. I believe he's also opted for the bug. Again, he's the fastest doctor out there on track, but he is under fire from Island Paradise. Again, these drivers with these same platforms are fighting with the same power, same setup, and it's up to see who can best manage the car, the tires, and the fuel. We have a very tight pack from 3 to 6, all opting in for the bug as their top choice.
Very, very tight pack indeed. It'll be very interesting to see what these guys are capable of pulling out. A big spin there. Big spin for one of the drivers who runs off. That's Dylan Ali. Dylan Ali having a bit of bad luck, and just as our technical director was mentioning, it's a very easy track to lose those corners, to get around the track without having an issue is really a skill set in and of itself. So that bit of bad luck there for Dylan Ali as he falls straight back down to the 12th position, coming in as the back marker at the moment. But we make our way back up to the lead, where we see ERS Bad Guy is in the lead, followed very closely by Brandon Driftbrat Steele and Neil Gopi Singh. That's your top three, the top three runners at the moment. Let's look at the rest of the pack so we can get an idea of whether or not there's any changing. Island Paradise is Stephen in the number 4 position. Danny Boy is in the 5th position. And of course, right behind Danny Boy at the moment is Adriano in position number 6. 4 drivers will proceed to the finals from this one. 4 drivers will proceed from the final to the finals from this one.
Last 2 places, position 11 and 12, are automatically eliminated at the end of this race. Any driver in P11 or P12 is in danger right now. If you qualify to the repecharge race, you would have to be anywhere from 5 to 10. But once you're in 11th, you are in danger. Right now, we have Dylan Ali in that danger zone, as well as Lord Santos.
Correct. So lots of action, not much passing taking place at the moment, guys. Not much passing taking place at the moment. And as we continue to taking the action, we want to say a special good evening to none other than Ms. Delicia Blizzard, the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs representative here in Trinidad and Tobago, and the liaison for motorsport, working with TTASA and the ministry in terms of the continued support of the Ministry for Motorsport. The fastest lap at the moment is coming in from ERS Bad Guy with a 136.618, but Brandon is hot on his heels. He is right on the bumper of ERS Bad Guy, just waiting to see whether or not he will make a mistake. Very close action there, side by side coming up there with those other 2 drivers. The other 2 drivers are Neil Gopi Singh and what looks like Danny Prasad. I believe that's Danny Prasad, and no, that's Island Paradise. That's Stephen Hussain. Stephen Hussain. So Stephen Hussain got into that 3rd position. So Stephen moving up 1 in that 3rd position, getting the better of Dr. Neil Gopi Singh. So that is interesting. A move into the 3rd position for Stephen Hussain.
These top four cannot afford to fight too heavy, because if they do, they can jeopardize their own positions and put them into the repechage bracket, basically. So in that sense, even if you do get past into fourth, keys just to stay composed and keep your position and try to hold on to this front pack, as they have a nice gap of about 2.4 seconds between them and the fifth position. They can break away from Adrian Passad now. Now is the time to do it.
Exactly. Now is the time to do it if they're going to make, but there are not many areas where you can pass on this course. That's the interesting thing about this particular course. It is so very technical that there are not very many areas that you can pass, save and except maybe for the straightaway, as well as after the S-bends, there is another couple of positions that you can try, but it could very well be dangerous for you as you continue to make your way through the course. This one is 16 laps. 16 laps, and the drivers have two choices of tires, the soft and the medium. So that is something to pay attention as well. The fastest lap at the moment coming in from Stephen Hussein is 137.728. So that's interesting where Stephen is concerned, closing in that gap between himself and the front pack, in front of the pack. But the guys are doing well to maintain their pace, maintain the momentum as they make their way around the track. As we get ready to, not get ready, but we are making our way to what is the pit window. Mark Pogson, there's some information with us with regard to pit strategy this evening.
Well, being a 16-lap race, most people I should think would go for the soft strategy. And you'd look to pit right there in the middle at lap 8. Some may go for the undercut, try to go for lap 7. But I think this is a race of attrition. So this is pretty much a race of basically managing your tires and basically trying to... Oh, we have Brandon with a penalty there.
Brandon gets a penalty.
No, sorry, Trini Low.
That's
David Lyons.
Right. Well, yeah, like I said, this is a track where a lot of patience will actually win you the event. Because if you stay patient and you stay behind people, most often the guy in front who's driving very aggressive, his tires are gonna start to wear eventually, and it's then when if you manage your tires well enough behind him, then you can capitalize. But other than that, being too aggressive in this course is going to bite you for sure.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. I was noticing that we saw Neil G falling off the pace of that top three. Can we look at him for a second? Yep, and he has fallen 3 seconds off the back of Stephen Hussein. So again, Neil cannot maintain that pace as Stephen does, even though they're driving the same car, but he is maintaining his gap between him and Adrian Passad. So basically that top three is putting the pedal to the metal and trying to pull away as hard as they can from those back markers.
So very, very interesting in terms of how the strategy is to work. The reality for a lot of the drivers is just being able to maintain their pace, at least in the top 4, which they will be allowed to proceed automatically to the final, which takes place on Saturday evening. And the guys who are going to be in the repechage race, and literally the repechage race is the last opportunity for the guys who are in the position 5 to 10 in the placings that have one last opportunity to make their way into the finals. 4 from that repechage race will also be making their way into the finals for the last opportunity to do so. So lots of action here this evening. Fastest lap coming in from Island Paradise. That's Stephen Hussein in a 131.728. Stephen is really putting pedal to the metal to get that kind of time. A 131.728 around this course. Beautiful time for him. Let's see if he's able to capitalize on that and make his way up the order. Brandon is not easy to get around. Neither is Bad Guy Kali. Bad Guy Kali is making his way in front in that Jag and keeping up with and keeping that pace. So it's going to be difficult for anyone to get around him, given the consistency that he's shown up to now in this event.
He just set the fastest first sector time there, so he's pushing this lap, trying to break Brandon's third.
Yeah.
But I think Brandon's just buying his time, because he knows his best, his closest nemesis is the guy right in front of him. So again, he has to play the long game, save the fuel, save the tires, and hopefully beat him in the pit. But again, tomorrow we have the repechage race, and I believe the repechage race will be tomorrow. closest battles I'm going to have between these drivers. I mean, that's the last chance to get into the finals for these drivers. So the top 4 moving forward. So right now, FIA's Bad Guy, Brandon Drift, Brad Steele, Stephen Hussein, Isle Paradise, and Neil Gopi Singh, Neil G, plenty numbers. Again, that's the top 4, but right now Neil G is holding a 3-second gap between him and David Lyons. Once he maintains this gap, he should be moving on into the finals. But again, there are still 10 laps to go, and drivers have yet to hit the pit. So, being that Neil is not getting the pull along by those top 3 drivers, he's now fighting all the way in front of him by himself. So again, it's up to him to maintain his composure and just keep trucking on.
It's very interesting to see as well that the drivers who are in the 5th to 10th position at the moment, the order hasn't really changed much insofar as the running order where those drivers are concerned. So those drivers look set to remain in those positions. We are now seeing though that David Lyons, Trini Layo, is closing in on Dr. Neil Gopi Singh in the 4th position. So Trini Layo is making up some ground, just now getting another penalty. And Mark, maybe we should, if you can, please explain the penalty situation when a driver gets a penalty, how that affects his eventual outcome.
So when a driver gets penalty, he can choose when he wants to slow down in any particular moment. And usually you see the car will slow down and actually get to that ghosted kind of aura like. That means that the game has decided that he is actually going slower than he should be in a certain area, and he is basically paying that time penalty. So he can actually pay off that time penalty in a stretch of a period of time, and not all in one little go and lose all his pace. That's just how the game is. I know in other FIA events, people will make note and comment how there are penalty zones. But our current position and how we have it set up, it's basically a penalty that can be served on the lap when you choose. And we have Trini Layo going into the pit now.
Very well done for
mistakes
Trini
in
Layo.
that pit stop. Let's hope there are no mistakes.
Very nicely done for Trini Layo. He's taking the early pit stop. And of course, as we continue to bring you the action, this is the TTASA eSports Gran Turismo Sport Digital Cup 2020. Mark, what is going to be the benefit to Trini Layo for getting into the pit and getting out this early?
Well, he's pitted early, hoping he can get some fresh, clean air in front of him, thinking that he has a pretty fast car and that he can put down some fast laps and maybe even get that undercut, so that when people pit on the lap number 9, that he may be able to take that advantage a bit. Maybe he's been saving some fuel, I don't know. Who knows? But it seems to be a strategy. He seems to be going definitely undercut strategy. The undercut strategy would have worked best. As you see, he slowed down a bit, got rid of all the rest of his penalty. The undercut strategy would have been best done if he had saved a little bit of fuel. And that would allow him to basically take advantage, and that undercut strategy would definitely work a lot better.
I'm just getting word from the marshals that Brandon's tires all look like they're on the way out as his car is coming around track. So he just hops in the pit, as well as AR's Bad Guy and Stephen Hussein all making their pit stop. Let's see who saved the most fuel and is quicker out of the pit. So as we see these drivers, the battle for this top 4 will be decided out of this pit. So let's see how they come out.
Well, we have an interesting top 3, you see. We have an interesting top 3 of three very different cars and very different strengths and weaknesses. We have the GTR with Brandon's driving, which is really fast in a straight line, probably one of the fastest in the game in a straight line. Then we have Steven in the Bug, which is a really good handling car. A lot of turning, mid-turning, and is good on tires. And Steven is just managing to stay behind the fastest car and stay in that draft of that GTR, which helps him to increase his top speed with that draft. And then we have Bad Guy Caligula, who is in that Jag, which is actually a very well balanced car, a lovely car actually to drive.
He's actually in the Aston.
Sorry, the Aston, my mistake. Which is also very similar to the Jag in that it's a lovely car to drive, great turning, a little bit better handling than the GTR. So it would probably been a choice that I would have favored over the GTR.
Does his car have any Bond gadgets? As we know, the Aston Martin James Bond car. Does he have any of those?
Well, boy, I don't know. Seeing how fast he goes, I definitely have to question that. I mean, I don't know what kind of alien gadgets he has in his car.
Also, would have noted, I just saw that Trini Lyons, David Lyons, undercut strategy did work, and he did manage to get a place ahead of Neil G. So Neil has fell down from 4th place down to 6th place, so he's now in that repechage range. As we know, the top 4 will be moving forward. From 5 to 10 will be qualifying for the repechage, and the bottom 2 are eliminated tonight.
So Trini Lyo, in the later end of the race now, he's gonna have tires that are 1 lap older than the rest of the guys behind him. So he's definitely gonna have to put his defensive wall on behind him when it comes to later on, because when those tires are gonna start to wear, those guys are definitely gonna try to pressure him and get past him. So his race is gonna come definitely get the critical point right down to the last 3 laps.
Thank you very much, Mark. We do have some information that advises that Danny Boy was able to make up 2 spots from 7th to 5th when he with his pit strategy. So his pit strategy works for him as well. And we are on the 10th lap of 16, 10th lap of 16, just about 2/3 through this one. And as we talk about the issue of sponsors, you know, for some of these drivers, it's very important. They do have their own individual sponsors. And we happen to know that Brandon's individual sponsors are DriveStyle Limited, AMSOIL, Lexan Diagnostics, Digital Justice Media, and Racetrack Wheels. So it's always interesting to note that some drivers need to have or acquire sponsors, individual sponsors, for the purpose of keeping them in the sport and continuing to support them as they make their way through the different disciplines. David is in 4th, and one of our David is in 4th at the moment. One of our not technical directors, the chairman, the competition chair of TTASA, who is an official in this event, telling us about Suzuki Power.
Anyway,
so Debbie Nath is in the background supporting us in the technical chair, in the stewards chair, along with Gerard Wilson, who is all the way in Texas, and Dwayne Budusing. They have race control, and we thank them very much, along with Mark Hodgson, making sure that this event could be brought to you this evening, and as they have been doing since our very first qualifier. So we thank them very much for getting on board and making this event happen. We also have to advise that there is another event coming up very soon, so please stay tuned for that. We should have some details of that from none other than Mark Hodgson before this championship series is over. Luke?
Okay, so we just see Bad Guy Cali has just set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:30.889, and this is in the 11th lap of the race. So again, these tires are just breaking in very nicely, and he'll be coming out to start wearing the tires, and he's still pushing to build a gap from him and Brandon Driftbrad Steele. Again, these drivers are stamping their ground and making it known that they are no slouches. So again, Bad Guy Cali is showing that even though the second fastest qualifier entering this competition, he will go times that Brandon cannot match. So again, these drivers take us to one another up front, even though we're not even at the finals yet. So this is the quarterfinal race, and these drivers have 4 laps to go. Right now, Neil G is not doing himself any favors as he's falling back to this pack. He's now down to 8th place. So he may need some Suzuki Swift power, but that golf is not working for him at the moment. He is sponsored by Licky Molly, as you can see here. Has a very nice paint job, but that does not make the car reach to the front of the pack. So Neil G's got to buckle down and putting some fast laps to keep himself safe in this competition, as we have one driver dropping out. I believe it was Lord Santos has left the race based on technical difficulties. So only one driver will be eliminated from this competition tonight.
That's right. So one driver did have some issues with technical issues, and the battle between 5th and 6th with 4 laps to go is an interesting one. Between 5th and 6th, that's Danny Boy, who's in 5th, and in 6th position, we have at the moment, looks like Adriano. So Adriano is battling with Danny for that 5th and 6th position. Remember, only the first 4 get straight into the semi-finals. Everyone else up to 10 gets into the repechage race. So that's probably what Adriano is trying to do at the moment, to see if he can secure his place in the finals without having to go through the repechage. Again, the repechage race will be on tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. So please join us again tomorrow evening for that. Semi-finals are today. The repechage is tomorrow, Friday evening, and then the big final event takes place on Saturday evening. Don't forget, we do have that big interview with the Vice President of TTASA, Mr. Ashton Elegon, who is coming up just around 8:15. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, so we also have one more race tonight at 8:30 tonight, and that is the final semi-final race. That'll be our next top 4, as well as the other 6 who are going forward to the repechage race. So again, we have a lot of fun, exciting racing coming up tonight, and I think this battle between Danny Boy and Adriano, if it's not decided now, they're going to shoot themselves in the leg, because the fighting is only going to slow them down.
They're going to try to fight it out tomorrow night, it looks like. The gap between Danny and Neil is a pretty large gap. It may be difficult for Danny to close that gap at the moment. So we'll have to see how that goes. But as we take you back up to the lead pack, then in the lead at the moment remains Bad Guy Kali, yes? And ERS Bad Guy, that is. And ERS Bad Guy, can someone tell me if this guy made a pit stop at all? I don't think so.
He has the top 4 all pitted together. And
they all pitted together.
Fell out was Neil. Neil lost out on that pit stop for some reason.
Okay, so he did pit as well, right? So they all pitted together, and he is taking advantage. He is manhandling the rest of the drivers at the moment. Bad Guy Kali, the fastest qualifier coming into the semi-final round, he was faster than Brandon by just about 0.5 of a second. 0.5 of the second. Tantos is out. That's Tantos. Lord Tantos is out. So he is not going to be in the final race nor the repechage. Having some technical difficulty, he is one of the drivers who is eliminated for this evening and for the event. We want to thank him, as well as all of the other drivers, the other 24 drivers who didn't make it this far. We thank them for getting involved. Remember, we had 52 drivers who started, and now we're down to the last 24. That's what's happening at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. And we still have this battle going on. The battle in for the repechage race, the final spot in the repechage race is taking place between 10th and 11th. 10th and 11th is where a battle is taking place right now for that last spot to get into the repechage race. That's Dylan Ali, who would have made up some spots to get himself into the running. Dylan is in 10th at the moment. And in 11th, we have
Kyle Ford.
Who is this? This is the
Renaissance. That's Kyle Ford, the Renaissance.
Right, the Renaissance. So he is in the relegation zone, as we like to say. He is currently the back marker, and if he's unable to get around the karting skill of Dylan Ali, then he is not going to be able to make it into the final, the repechage race at least. Currently 14th, the repechage race. Currently on lap 14, we are currently on lap 14. And once again, we want to thank our sponsors, Motul Lubricants, Garage Fresh, Trini Tuner, Renter Studio, and Trap Speed Simulators.
Also stay tuned, Garage Fresh does have a new video coming out soon. I may have been behind the scenes, but I'm not allowed to speak about it. But it's coming out and it's going to be lit! So yeah. Yeah, it should be fun.
I'm very happy to hear that you were involved in that one, Luke. Luke, as we talk about that, are you intended getting back into racing action when racing resumes at Waller Field?
If anyone would like to sponsor a motorcycle or sponsor a motorcycle rider by buying a bike and tires and other things, I would love to race. If Waller Field will be back tomorrow and they say, Luke, you have a bike to ride, I'll be there. I love racing, Ray. I can't help myself. I love it.
Lap 15! Lap 15 is where we are at the moment. We are in the penultimate lap, ladies and gentlemen. And ERS Bad Guy has taken it to the rest of the pack. Unless something drastic happens, he is going to remain in that lead and finish this one as the top qualifier for the final. So that is something to pay attention to. He was
I think
not
Bad Guy just pulled a Brandon on Brandon.
He was not a favored driver when he came in, although we knew that he was very fast. When he did the interview with Mark was also quite impressed with him as a driver, given what his positioning was and what his disposition with regard to the sport was. It's very good to see this young driver get involved in this platform and make his presence felt. Brandon is dealing with a little penalty at the moment as well. Brandon would have had a little challenge. He did mention that, in getting into some of these events, his nerves gets the better of him. And for anybody who has recently driven this course will know how hard it is to make your way around this course without making a mistake. Mark?
I think it's easier to breathe underwater, Ray.
It is a difficult course. I think that this is a course where you definitely have to not braking late in this course is gonna pay a lot on those tires. So it's braking very early, lifting and coasting, and trying to get around basically as gingerly as you can on those tires is definitely how to win this. In fact, driving slow in and fast out is.
I'm sorry, Mark, but we just want to advise that the race has come to an end. Race has come to an end, and ERS Bad Guy has finished in the top position. ERS Bad Guy finishing in top position. That's Gavin Nichols is his name, right? Gavin Nichols?
Gavin Daniels, that's Gavin Daniels.
Daniels is the driver who finished in the top position, followed by Brandon Driftback Steele, followed by what looks like Stephen Hussein, and Trini Layo. So those 4 drivers are now the drivers that go straight into the finals. Luke, tell us the...
So Pino is currently in 9th place as he comes to the end of this race, and we have the Renaissance who did make the pass on Dylan Ali. So now Dylan Ali, if he cannot pass around the Renaissance, again, that is the final spot there, taken by the Renaissance. And Dylan Ali has now been eliminated. We do thank him for participating. Again, he is coming from the karting camp, and he put on a very good show tonight.
He did, but he did have a bad run of luck when he ran off in the stages. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen, the end of the very first semi-final round. Very first semi-final round brought to you here this evening with the kind compliments of Motul Lubricants, Garage Fresh, TriniTuner.com, Rent a Studio, and of course, Trap Speed Simulators. And we're now seeing that we have a brand new sponsor who is Interchem. So we welcome Interchem. We welcome the Interchem team. We thank the Interchem team for joining and getting involved in the sport. Right. And of course, Mark, we apologize for cutting you off a little while ago, but we needed to share the results.
No, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine, guys.
We needed to share the results.
I should have been paying attention myself.
It's there. I got it. It's there. That was so hard.
So we are happy to have brought to you the very first semi-final AB, ladies and gentlemen, taking place this evening right here on the live feed. And of course, we say thank you to all of you who have been on the live feed, contributing, sharing, and paying attention, especially those officials from TTASA. We know the management of TTASA, led by Mr. Faizul Madan, is paying attention and looking on avidly at what has been happening. So we say a special good evening to Mr. Faizul Madan, to Mr. Ashton Elegant, to Mr. Devi Nath, Mr. Roger Hachian, Mr. Navin Sidat, Mr. Ryan Piru, and Mr. Ronnie Ramdale, the management committee of TTASA, bringing this event to the driving public and the motoring public, the sporting public of Trinidad and Tobago. Don't forget, we have that big interview coming up in a little while from now with the Vice President of TTASA, Mr. Ashton Elegant. I had the pleasure and honor of speaking to him earlier today, and he did share some insights with me that are going to be very interesting for you as it relates to what is going to happen when motorsport is concerned in Trinidad and Tobago in a post-COVID-19 environment. Look.
Okay, that ramper is the same ramper that we have in the next race coming up at 8:30. And again, he's in position 6. So he's going to have a tough time fighting his way to that top 4 and to get out of the repechage group. So again, we want to thank TTASA, thank all our sponsors, as we said before. I want to thank Ray for making me look good, and also Mark Foxon for making me look like I know what I'm doing here. So again, guys, thank you for watching. Hit that bell icon, or hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and then hit the bell icon, like just read like ping, 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 like that. And yeah, you'll be posted as we come back online for the second race of tonight, and then tomorrow for the repechage race and the finals as we announce the track. on the day of the race and not early like we did this time. Again, these drivers for the next race have the next about 40-50 minutes to watch over this race and see what drivers did and what cars were chosen and which cars won. Need to change their strategy now as they have the time to do so. We have a very good race coming up shortly, and thank you guys for watching.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are here this evening with a special interview for the eSports series. And today we have the pleasure and honor of having with us none other than a racer and current Vice President of TTASA, Mr. Ashton Elephant. Welcome, Ashton.
Good afternoon, all. Thanks, Ray. Thanks for having me.
Ashton, thanks very much for making the time to be with us this evening. Really and truly what we wanted to try to find out from you is why did TTASA get involved in this initiative?
Well, for sure, when time is nothing with regards to motorsport. You know, anytime you're ready for an interview, you say it, I'm ready. And any member of TTASA management, I'm sure, feels the same. But the reason why we chose this initiative, a couple of reasons. One, it's a platform for the youngsters or the newcomers to motorsport, more so circuit racing, whereby it's an easy avenue, a relatively cheap avenue, because most households may have a PlayStation, and that's the basic that you need to start.
Yeah.
You know, some of the guys go, you know, with the fancy rigs and all that, and also it's an initiative driven from FIA. So and what a better time than during the COVID lockdown. But it's really geared for getting newcomers involved to the sport, the youngsters.
That's fantastic, Ashton. I understand that this is a championship that is being run at the moment, but the question now is whether or not this is something that TTASA is going to continue doing.
Without a doubt. You know, this championship will end on Saturday, tonight and tomorrow being the semifinals. And we have already have discussion internally that we want to make this a championship, just as how drag racing, circuit, drifting has a championship. It's definitely going to be on the cards going forward. It's not that, and we don't want anybody to think that we're only doing this during the lockdown. And then when the Frankie Boudram International Raceway resumes racing, then it's going to fall off the bandwagon. Not at all. This is a one-ticket item that's be going forward. One of the initiatives that the TTASA management going to stand and continue. Just as how you asked that question, Ray, that was one of the questions posed to us yesterday by one of the FIA representatives during a meeting with some of the TTASA executives. Are we going to continue? And I just answered, yes, we're going to.
That's great to hear, Ashton. It's fantastic to hear that the FIA continues to remain so close to the TTASA and the ASN of Trinidad and Tobago in terms of this initiative and motorsports in general. So we're very, very happy to hear that. But one of the questions that comes up now is whether or not the Ministry of Sport is involved.
Without a doubt, yes. I mean, I listen to the coverage every night, and I keep hearing you welcome, Miss Denise Blizzard.
Yes.
She looks at it every night since we kicked off last week, Wednesday.
Yeah.
And they're in full support. When I say they, the entire ministry, the sports director, Mr. Patrice Charles, sorry, he's in full support. He has spoken to executives and given us the assurance that the ministry is in support. Now, we're in the teaching stage right now. As you know, there's some glitches, some little issues during this first try at it. So we want to make sure we iron out any of these issues, glitches, and then we can go to the ministry and say, okay, this is what we want going forward. But for sure, they're fully on board.
Very, very happy to hear that. We do acknowledge Ms. Blizzard because we know that she's participating and paying attention to what's happening. So we're always very happy to have the continued support of the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs. Ashton, though, as we speak about the resumption of motorsport in Trinidad and Tobago and the fact that sporting activity is going to resume soon, how is TTASA preparing for the resumption of motorsport in Trinidad and Tobago?
Great. With the announcement of the Honorable Prime Minister last Saturday, the 22nd of June, going on is when sporting will resume. We have kicked off in the background, and now we at the site. We were there last week, Saturday, Sunday. We'll be there this weekend. in preparing the track for resumption. We haven't given a date as yet because there's still a lot of work to be done. You know, just to give you an idea, you know, next time you see the drag racing track, you won't believe you're still in Trinidad, right? We have painted all the lines in the circuit track. We're going to do some repairs in the control tower. We also, with the support, and listen to this, this is the initiative of the drivers and riders. They're coming out of pocket to repair all the curbing around the facility.
Yeah.
Of course, that's from a safety concern also, not only looking at, you know, aesthetics, but for safety concern, more so for the riders. So we're going to go up there to do that. We also, you know, making sure the facilities are safe as possible. There's a lot of other items that we have on the back burner, and it's just a matter to get out there and start doing it. So come this weekend, we're going to continue preparing the facility, whether it's painting, binding, putting tires in the right areas, getting it ready for resumption of racing. Now, when we do resume racing, we will announce when. We have to be responsible, Ray.
Yeah.
Racing has resumed in the US with spectators left out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's easy to do that. Of course, there's a financial strain to it, doing that to the organization and also to the participants. So we have to work around that. We have some ideas where we could maybe mix and match. But at the end of the day, we must be safe. We must remain safe. We must remain responsible and adhering to the guidelines of the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Sport, and of course, the Honorable Prime Minister.
Ashton, thanks very much for sharing that information. That the fact that sport is being resumed, or the motorsport is being resumed, is welcome news to a lot of us in the motorsport fraternity. The reality, though, has to do with some of the disciplines that are going to be resuming shortly. And one of those disciplines is circuit racing, which is akin to what the eSport platform is about. Circuit racing is going to have the introduction of a brand new series called the Miata Cup. Can you share some information about that with us?
Definitely. Two of the big ticket items, the one which of course you're heavily involved in, and the other one is the Miata Cup. The Miata Cup series will kick off this year. We have most of the cars already on site in Trinidad. I've seen a few of them, and they're in the process of being outfitted with their roll cages and the right compound tires. And I think maybe it will go to the owners, and then they will paint it in whatever colors they like. But is a introductory class, much cheaper than let's say the Group 1 class, which I'm told anywhere in the vicinity of 150,000 K it can cost.
Right.
The Miata supposed to be just about half of that price, so thereabouts. And this is the brainchild of our good friend Ronald Workman. Of course, he's also the president of the Karting Association, and he's working alongside the TTASA management in making sure this happens. So it's another avenue, a lot cheaper avenue to introduce new racers to the organization, to the sport, which is very much needed at this point in time.
That's great, Ashton. We're very happy to hear that this is a new initiative that is coming out as well in the actual sport of itself, the Miata Cup, and that's something that we're looking forward to. As we get ready to wrap up, Ashton, do you want to say any final words in closing as it relates to the execution of the event? Well,
first I want to wish all the drivers going forward tonight, tomorrow, and of course the grand finale on Saturday, best of luck. We're happy to see such a good turnout. I've told 52. We stopped with an age bracket from young Alan Forbes, 16 years old, and Mr. Alcantara, 17 years old, right up to the older heads, Dr. Gopi Singh, Ryan Peru, a couple of the other guys, Brandon Steele, etc.
Yeah.
All the best to these guys. But you have our support. What we're looking at is your support. We thank the sponsors, Motul, Trap Speed, Garage Fresh, Trini Tuner, Renter Studio. We thank you, yourself, and your colleagues, Mark and Luke. Great job. We thank the officials, Devinat, our competition chair, Dwayne Bodu Singh, the principal of Trini Tuner, and of course, Gerard Wilson and Mark. Again, Mark being the technical support. We urge the viewers, the members, non-members, to come on board TTASA, to come on board as a member for TTASA. There's huge advantages, right, that you can find on our WhatsApp group. Huge. It's a no-brainer. Why you should not be a member. And I will leave by saying, remember one thing, Ray, performance beat back all old talk any day, any time. This management is a cut above the rest, not because I'm part of it. Performance. You look at our track record, you look at what's been happening for the last few years under the leadership of Mr. Madden and the rest of the executive. And we hope to see more and more newcomers to the sport. Just as the E-Series that you're involved in, and the Miata Cup, we want to see more people involved, Ray. Right? But thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. On behalf of all the executive, we wish you guys all the best.
Ashton, thanks very much for being with us. We've been talking to Ashton Elegant, the Vice President of TTASA, speaking on behalf of TTASA and sharing some thoughts as it relates to what's happening in motorsport in Trinidad and Tobago. Very happy to have you, Ashton, and all the best to you as well.
Thank you. God bless.
Okay, guys, welcome back. It's 8:16, and we just had an amazing race for that first race with Gavin Daniels beating out the rest of the pack. Brandon Driftrat Steele in second place. Who was in third place? I mean, that's Stephen Hussein was in third place, and in fourth place we had none other than Trini Lyons, otherwise known as David Lyons, on the track, a very well-known racer, and he was the fourth and final racer to move easily into the final position of this final race for Saturday night. So on Friday, we do have a rapid charge race, and these drivers will have to qualify from P5 to 10 who were not able to get into the top 4 and fight for their place in the finals, as only 4 drivers from that rapid charge race on Friday will be moving to the finals. So in about just over 12 minutes time, we shall be starting the last race of this semi-final round. So yeah, we have a lot to see still. We have Alan Forbes coming up, who's in P1, Dosesu Andrew Marsong in P2, Anthony Vidal in P3, Ravin Duki Raptor 9446 is in P4, Nigel Pollard Bull_GT is in 5th, the legendary man himself, Ryan Peru, also the driver rep for TTASA. Ryan Peru is RP Racer 100 in P6, and that will be the final spot if he can maintain it to get into. No, scratch that. That's all wrong, guys. That's all wrong. I butchered that. So again, it's the top 4 moving into the finals, and from 5 to 10 are the rapid charge, and the last 2 eliminated. So again, moving, we have in P7 Dion Small, who's Eastern Dora. In P8, Daryl Thomas Elder Warlord representing for the bikers on the track. Again, we have to see a lot of drivers fight their way through this very stacked grid. Also right behind him, we have Richard Rampasad. That's well_boy. We have Dimitri Myers in P10, who's Way Senpai. And in P11, we have Javid Bash, otherwise me, he's a rebel. And in P12, we have Roshan Ramnath, Bassworks, representing for the Evil Boys out from the AMS camp, and somewhat also representing for Anil Ramdeen, the Evil King himself. So again, we have a very nice race coming up. We have 10 minutes before we actually jump on board with these drivers, and hopefully after, we may be able to get in contact with these drivers for doing some interviews. If not tonight, hopefully in the upcoming days, we should be able to provide some interviews post-race. Definitely for the finals, we should have all that worked out. But for now, again, we have a lot of racing coming up, and we're going to attack Interlagos for one more time as these drivers fight their way into the top 4. Also, when Ray comes back, I have to mention asking for a sponsorship for the Meta Cup, as I was contacted by the young Ainsley Lochan, otherwise known as Rossi Lochan, to say, if you're going to get back into racing, talk to Ray. So again, big questions for Ray. Good looking out, Ainsley. I'm Amy Ainsley, Rossi Lochan. And again, if you're supporting your drivers, just drop the driver that you are supporting in the chat, give them a hashtag, whoever, and pick up your driver. Again, these drivers always putting on a great show for us, and hopefully in the upcoming weeks, we could announce the other iteration of this Race at Home initiative, as we do or try to carry out more competitions like this with the help of TTASA and our lovely sponsors. Also, just to mention the sponsors, we have Motul as our primary sponsor. Our secondary sponsors start off with Raj Fresh, newly welcoming Interchem, also out of Chaguanas in Glencoe Lands or Pencoe Lands. In Chaguanas, if you need a studio to take some photos, or just to rent a studio to get some shots done, check out Rent a Studio. If you have something to advertise or just care a lot about motorsport, check out the forum at trinituner.com, which is Trinidad and Tobago's #1 leading motor sport website or automotive website. I'm going with automotive website. We're sticking to that. And if you need a rig built because you're tired of beating up your fingers on a gamepad, check out Mark Foxon at TSS Simulators. Let's jump to the pits and see what these drivers are opting for their choice of cars going into this final round of the semi-finals. Welcome back, Ray.
Thank you very much, Luke, and we're very happy to have you back here with us as we bring you the action live here on the YouTube feed. And we want to thank Luke for starting us off and sharing some information with regard to the driver lineup for this evening in this second heat. Once again, we say a special good evening to Ms. Delicia Blizzard, the official representative of the Ministry of Sport, as well as Dr. Michael Babulal and all of the other officials from TTASA who are paying close attention to what is happening where this event is concerned. This is the TTASA eSports Gran Turismo Sport Digital Cup 2020. And as we've been just advised by one of the officials from TTASA, there is another TTASA event that is coming up. But the event that we are referring to or have been referring to is a Mark Pulson production. So we will get some information with regard to that a little later on this evening as well. Just a reminder, for all drivers, the track and the car that will be used in for the final will be announced after the repechage race. The track and the car that will be used for the final will be announced after the repechage race, and that race takes place tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. So please stay tuned or join us again at tomorrow evening on the YouTube feed for the live broadcast of the repechage race. This is the final semi-final, as Luke would have pointed out, as we continue to bring you this action here this evening. Luke would have also pointed out our sponsors, without whom we would not be able to make this event possible. Motul Lubricants, Garage Fresh, Rental Studio, Trinituner, Trap Speed Simulators, and now Interchem. We want to thank them very much for jumping on board and being part of the action here this evening. Luke, any predictions for this one?
Can I just do a shameless plug? If you guys want to check out my videos that I do, you can just check me out on Facebook at Island Productions. And just hit that like button because it's a support of Luke, because all Luke's need loves. Separate from that, we're gonna jump to Mark as I asked him before to take us through the cars that are being chosen by these drivers moving into this final race.
Shameless plug is right, boy.
Shameless.
Right. In the back of the pack, we have Pitbull with the 911, which is a very, very good car to choose. I think it's a wise choice. It's a very good handling car, all around good car. Nothing really bad to say about this car. This is a car that people to choose for most event and most races. So the Porsche 911, very, very good platform on this game, and very good all around car. Next up here we have the GTR. Again, very fast. I guess his best thing is would be the straightaways, which is the start-stop finish line, because that is the only real straightaway in this, and that's where the GTR would be able to shine and make his overtakes. Then in 10th, in P10 here, which is the pit in a pit stop, which does not really mean what position it'll be starting in. We have the Mazda Tenza. Mazda Tenza is also, just like the 911, a very good all-rounder car, very good handling. It has a very kind of a light feel to it, so for that it's actually very good on its tires, and it's also very good on fuel. Next we have the famous Subaru, which is very, very good from a standstill. However, we've been doing rolling starts today, so that part of it would not be able to take that advantage of that amazing standing start. But that being said, it is also a very good all-around car. Decent handling. Does suffer a bit of understeer. From that aspect, I wonder if his front tires are going to suffer a bit. But not a bad choice. Then we have the Peugeot RCZ, which is a fast car. It's actually a very fast car on this track, but it's tricky. This car is a bit to handle. Not one of my favorites, but it can be very hard, very fast if handled properly. Then I get back to it again. Then we have the Ferrari. I don't have much experience driving this Ferrari, but it is also a very good car, a very good handling car. But going over bumps and chicanes and stretching those limits, it can be unsettled very easily, and it can be a twitchy car. So it can be very, very, that car that'll definitely bite you if you get it wrong. And then, other than that, we have, rounding up the top, we have the Bugs, which we've seen compete before. So other than that, that pretty much rounds off the majority of the cars we have competing in our second class here. Gonna hand it back over to Luke and Ray.
Interlagos, thank you very much, Mark. Interlagos, one of those famous F1 tracks, the F1 season formerly ending on Interlagos. So many championships have been determined on the Interlagos track. The most favorite of mine, Luke, you have a favorite one where Interlagos is concerned? There's a very particular one that took place some years ago.
When Senna arms went numb while racing Interlagos, and he was second gear and he was holding his third gear. If you don't know that race, you aren't a real supporter of F1 and actual racing in that sense, because it was awe-inspiring.
It was. Senna, one of the best drivers the world has ever known, had the two first corners named after him. It's now called the Senna S's. And so that's a bit of a history there as well. The other race that jumps out at me as being one of the best finals ever where Interlagos is concerned is the event that took place in 2008 when Lewis Hamilton became the world champion by passing Timo Glock in the getting into fifth position, fooling Felipe Massa into thinking that he would have won the championship when all Hamilton needed to do was to get past into that fifth position. It was his first championship, and first driver's championship that he got in his second year, 2008, and he got it right here at Interlagos. So that's one that jumps out for me as well. But we take you back to the action. Just about 2 more minutes to start. Just about 2 more minutes to start here, ladies and gentlemen, at the Interlagos course. The semi-final round taking place right here, right now. And of course, once again, we thank our sponsors, Motul Lubricants, Garage Fresh, Renter Studio, TTASA.com, Track Speed Simulators, and Interchem. This is the TTASA eSports Gran Turismo Sport Digital Cup 2020 edition. And we look forward to many other sim racing events coming up again in the future, being put on by TTASA or being sanctioned by TTASA as we look forward to the development of the sim racing platform in the lexicon of motorsport in Trinidad and Tobago. 1 minute to start. 1 minute to start. This is a rolling start, so the guys will get into grid formation. This is a rolling start. Eastern Dora is your back marker at the moment on the grid, but it is a rolling start. We'll be seeing that rolling start in a few minutes. In a few
seconds,
seconds, correct. In a few seconds. Stand by, ladies and gentlemen, stand by. This is the start of the race. Cars will roll off, you will see the countdown, and then we will be underway.
This is very similar to our Group 4 class of cars, in that these cars are so hard to launch and it's so much for drivers to manage off the line. These cars are very hard to get off the line. So that's why we run a rolling start instead, so that the grid can be set as they roll up, and drivers who have launch control, like similar to the Subaru that pulls off a line great, they don't basically benefit from that. So we have AJ Forbes out there in P1.
So
we'll see what happens as these drivers enter this first corner, the rolling start.
And they're off, ladies and gentlemen, and they're off. AJ Forbes is in the lead in P1 at the moment. He is closely followed at the moment. In the P2 position is, that looks like Andrew Marsang. Andrew Marsang, that's Dose So. Dose So is in second position and in third position at the moment. In third position at the moment is
Anthony Vidal, kid on
Anthony Vidal. Anthony Vidal. So that those are your top three podiums at the moment. The top three would end up in the podium if it was to finish right now, but we just got started. This is the very first lap. This is 16 laps, ladies and gentlemen. 16 laps in this one. The drivers do have two tire choices, medium and soft tires. Most drivers have been going for the soft stop strategy and have been pitting in that pit window between the 6th and 9th lap. So let's see what happens insofar as the management of strategy in this particular one is concerned. Drivers will have to make a decision in terms of determining whether or not they're able to take advantage of that pit strategy and get better placings. Remember, first 4 drivers make it into the final on Saturday. From 5th to 10th, they make it into the repechage race. That repechage race takes place tomorrow at 8 p.m. And the last two, the 11th and 12th, end their campaign this evening. 11th and 12th places end their campaign this evening. We want to thank all drivers who would have been part of this event so far. All of the drivers, we had 52 to start with. We're down to the last 24. Right now, we're down to the last 12 who have the opportunity to get into the semi-final, to the final, and to the repechage race. Everyone is currently on soft tires, so that should make for some fast times in the first stint before they get into the pit and make their decisions with regard to race strategy after pitting in the pit window. Mark, tell us a little bit about the possible strategies that could be applied in this one.
Well, maybe about one or two strategies that could realistically be applied here. One would be to use a medium tire and go for a long stint and then finish up on the soft tires, hoping that maybe some people ahead of you would suffer their soft tires but diminish not too late or in the race. But the pretty much the strategy that I would say everybody has been going for is a combination of your first stint on softs and second stint on softs, and pretty much where you're gonna make up time in that pit lane is on how much fuel you can save. So I'd be interesting to see what Andrew is gonna do, being in second place here, as well as Kid Ink is gonna do in terms of saving fuel and what their strategy is gonna be like. We'll find out that around lap 7 or lap 8, because that is generally gonna be the time that you're gonna see most people gonna be pitting in. Lap 7 is usually for those people are gonna go for the undercut strategy, and lap 8 is pretty much the standard strategy.
Thank you very much, Mark. We do have some information that advises that Wellboy crashed in the lap prior to this one, so he would have had some challenge there. We also have a little battle taking place in the back. Drivers trying to keep themselves out of that relegation zone in 11th and 12th, trying to get into that at least 10th position to ensure they have the final chance in the repechage tomorrow evening. Those drivers will only have that chance if they could get into it. Wellboy is the back marker at the moment, so he is the one that has to try to make up and get into the 10th position or better.
I warned and said how twitchy that Ferrari can be. It can be a handful to handle, as I said. It can be very twitchy. You get it wrong, it's gonna bite you.
So Ray, is he not so well boy now?
He probably is not so well boy at the moment. That's absolutely correct. Nearly a 4 second gap from the 4th place to the top 3. So the top 3 are carving out a race for themselves up in front. But the action between 5th and 10th is going to be hot as the race gets into the later laps for people who are trying their best to make sure that they can find a place in the final. The first 3 and then the next one, which is the 4 top drivers, will end up in the final this evening. That is for certain. So those 4 drivers will be in the final. But the 5th to the 10th are the ones that will have the opportunity to get into that repechage race. Paul Bull is actually right now in 5th position. So Paul Bull, having a good campaign up to now, is in 5th position and is trying his best to see if he can get into that semi-final, that final spot at the moment. The final spot on the grid at the moment is being held down by Raptor. Raptor now is in the 4th position. So if he can maintain after the pit issue, after the pit change, he may very well end up in the final. So let's see what happens, because we do have that tricky issue of trying your best to manage your fuel and your tires to be able to get the best out of the vehicle and to maintain your position insofar as getting into the final is concerned. So lots of strategy on this very, very difficult course. Not easy to get through. We have seen sometimes in the 130s a fastest time of 130 in the first semi-final this evening. So we look forward to seeing what kind of times guys like who are up in front at the moment, who are AJ Forbes and the like. AJ Forbes, of course, is the son of Aaron Forbes, the nephew of Glenn Forbes, and the Forbes guys are the guys responsible for Motul lubricants in Trinidad and Tobago. AJ Forbes coming up at a 1:31.519. That's the fastest lap coming in from him. AJ Forbes is the one to beat at the moment, setting himself on pole and now carrying his speed through the track in a fastest lap of a 1:31.519. Luke?
That's still 6/10 of the fast times of the last race, but those times were set late in the race, so the drivers were holding something back at the early stint, as they may have been conserving fuel and trying to save tires as they go along. But we did see that in the battle for fourth place, that Raptor, Pole Bull, and Ryan Prew did pick up some penalties earlier. Each driver either making small mistakes running off track or bumping, giving themselves small 0.5-second penalties. Again, that's not doing them any favors, as these drivers still have to fight their way to close over 4 seconds or 6 seconds to the next available position, who is Raptor, Robin.
It's Raptor. That's right. So lots of action here. We're seeing that Raptor has a penalty as well as Pole Bull. He has a penalty as well. And those penalties will be served out during the course of the race. These penalties would have come from either not...
and Ryan Prew spins it!
That's Ryan Prew?
Yep, that Peugeot seems to be a handful for him.
Oh my goodness, Ryan would have had a bad run there. So Ryan Prew drops all the way back down to 11th. Relegation zone time for Ryan. A gap opening up between the second and first place. So that is interesting as well. But Ryan having a bit of bad luck there and running off the track, now having to try to make up in the pit or make his way back into 10th position, at least to be able to get into the repechage race.
This really is a battle for survival, Ray.
It is literally a battle for survival. The pole position in that repechage race is going to be determined between the fastest 5th finisher in the semi-finals. So the person who placed 5th in both semi-finals will be, their times will be checked. And whoever finished with the faster time will end up with P1. And then in the second fastest time will be in P2. And so on, insofar as the grid for the repechage race, which comes up tomorrow evening. Remember, the big final race takes place on Saturday evening at 8 p.m. right here on the live YouTube feed. And please check out, share the YouTube feed with all your friends and family. Let them know that motorsport is still alive and taking place in Trinidad and Tobago, even if it is not an open platform, it is not an open field like the Frankie Boudram Wallafield International Raceway. It is racing at home, following the Stay at Home initiative being put on by FIA around the world with the assistance of the ASNs of Trinidad and Tobago. The ASN being TTASA, putting on the first inaugural TTASA eSports Gran Turismo Sport Digital Cup 2020. Luke, what are your predictions for this one?
Predictions, Ray. I predicted a lot of things so far, but this one's tough. This one is tough. I like Doseso to maintain his place, as well as AJ Forbes. Again, they're running very clean lines, not picking up any penalties, and just basically pacing themselves to the wrong as they're not breaking that 1:31.5 bracket. So again, these drivers are trying to save as much as they can up until their laps run when they decide to take a pit. But we did see last race David Lyons take an early pit and pick up 2 positions. So if the back markers are close enough, they should be able to benefit from a very fast pit stop once they're within that 2 to 3 second range. But again, right now, Raptor, which is Robin Dookie, is under attack from Pole Bull, and he's in the last defending position. He has the most amount of work to do, as he has to defend as hard as he can, meanwhile still saving fuel so he doesn't get beat in the pit. So Pole Bull can be right there behind him, saving fuel lap after lap, and just inch him out on the pit exit. Again, Raptor Dookie is in the most vulnerable spot right now, as that 911 is smelling the exhaust of that Atenza.
That is actually some very interesting action there. Remember that relegation zone into the repechage race starts at position number 5. But up in front, you do have AJ Forbes, who is being tailed by Doseso. Doseso is just about half a second back from AJ Forbes. If the pit strategy works for Doseso, that's Andrew Marsan, he could end up in the lead. It's just a half second between himself and AJ Forbes. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with these 2 drivers who are up in the lead at the moment. Very, very tight action up there, and a lot of battling taking place between 4th and 5th as well. So that's something to pay attention to, just to see who ends up in that repechage race as one of the fastest 5th place finishers. Lots of action here. You rather qualify, exactly, not having to go through the repechage. But the repechage is the opportunity to give all drivers who are in the semi-finals one last chance to be able to make it into the finals. One last opportunity to be able to prove their mettle and to prove their worth for those final 4 places in the final grid. So is burning less fuel than Forbes at the moment, so he is having a better run at the moment. Again, if he is able to take advantage of that fact, he is going to be able to put himself in the lead. Ryan just spun again at turn 1. Tough run there for Ryan. Ryan having a really tough time and staying down in that 11th position. We really hope that Ryan, the consummate racer, races everything in Trinidad and Tobago, takes a part in every event that he can. In that 11th position, if he's unable to make it up into 10th, at least he will not be able to go forward this evening.
This just goes to show how good these drivers are driving. We have the likes of Ryan Peru, the infamous, the legendary, the unspoken word that he is so good at racing all things with a motor, and he's in 11th place right now, struggling on this Interlagos track. This track is not just difficult.
We're going to the pit lane, and who's that coming into the pit there now? It looks like Andrew Marsang. So Andrew Marsang is in the pit. Let's see if it's going to make a difference in terms of him getting out of the pit. He took a little bit of fuel. He took a splash of fuel, as we like to say. Just a little bit. Let's see who comes out in the lead.
Forbes? Where is Alan Forbes?
Not seeing Forbes at the moment. We need to know what's happening with Forbes, but Marsang trying his best. Let's see. Several drivers getting into the pit at the moment. So is in the lead. So is in the lead. Andrew Marsang gets into that lead. Forbes is gone with the medium tires, going for the harder tire for the longest stint. Maybe he's everybody has the same stint at the moment. Exactly, everybody has the same stint of stint
what
at
is
the
he
moment.
thinking?
So 9 is the lap that we're on. But Andrew Marsang has gotten around AJ Forbes in the pit and has come out ahead of Forbes, bettering his exit out of the pit.
Paul also made a move on Ravin Duki, Ray.
He did. Paul Bull. So Paul Bull also pulled off an exchange there as well. We have to wonder whether or not Forbes is going on the wrong tire, because that medium tire is going to affect his lap times. So that is something that is going to be, he is in 2nd position at the moment. With that medium tire, it may not help him in terms of being able to make up the gap between himself and Andrew Marsang. The gap is now opening. Mark, tell us about that choice of tire and whether or not it would have been.
Was it a mistake?
Or was it an error?
I don't know. It could have been an error, but it had to be an error where you actually have to select that tire to go to it next. So it had to be awful. I can't imagine why it would be something that I would choose. Seeing the fact that you were able to go through those first 8-9 laps at such a pace and wholly pack off, why would you look to choose the second half to go to the medium tire? I have no idea.
But I mean, we'll have to see. I guess we'll have to see.
Could it be the nerves?
Out, yeah? It could have been the nerves. It could be that. But we have some good news to let you know that Ryan Peru has been able to use his pit stop to get ahead of 2 drivers and is now in 9th position. So Ryan Peru, well played, pitting himself and getting ahead of 2 of the other drivers. So he is now in 9th position, taking advantage of the pit. Very, very nicely done there for Ryan Peru. We have a very tight bunch between the 3rd, 4th, and 5th position. Lots of action taking place there as well, where people are trying their best to jockey themselves into that position of getting into the final without having to do the rapid charge. So in 3rd and 4th at the moment, a little battle taking place there, side-by-side action. We're seeing here right now, in 5th position is Paul Bull. 5th position, he's defending nicely, coming around that corner. He gets into that lead, side-by-side.
And we just lost Ravin Duki.
He lost Ravin Duki. Ravin Duki wasn't unable to keep it. Couldn't keep it. Lost it. Raptor is now in 6th position. Tough luck there for Ravin. Forbes is losing to Dose, so that's happening as well. But Raptor losing that position. So in 4th position, if we get back to 4th position, we have Paul Bull, and then we have the Warlord, is it?
That is Elder Warlord. That is Daryl
Warlord is in 5th position at the moment, so he very well might end up being in the rapid charge race if he's not able to take advantage of Paul Bull. Yes,
he might just get it given to him because we still have Paul Bull. He has a 0.3-second penalty to serve, and Elder Warlord, Daryl Thomas, is still within 3/10. So upon serving that penalty, he could just basically give up that place.
But this is the beauty of racing. It is so unpredictable. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we live for. We live for the thrill of being able to see what looks like a certain outcome change in a matter of seconds.
Just when we counted out Ryan Peru, just when we counted him out, he picked up 2 positions.
Yeah, well, we actually never counted him out.
He was counting him out. He was 7 seconds behind 10th place. 7 seconds.
He was behind. Yeah, but we never. Ryan is one of those guys you could never actually count out. You will never know what he's in a position to pull out. Ryan Peru, the consummate racer, races anything he gets his hands on and is now in 9th position, picking himself up on a short place of being able to get into the repechage for tomorrow evening. 11th lap gone is where we're at the moment. We have 5 more laps to go, just about 2/3 through this one as we continue to bring you the action. This is the TTASA eSports Gran Turismo Sport Digital Cup 2020, brought to you by Motul Lubricants, Garage Fresh, Renter Studio, Trinituna, and Track Speed Simulators, and Intercam. Action here, so much so that I'm bursting with excitement because of the amount of action.
Have a sip of water, Ray. Have a sip of water.
I will. Look, please.
Okay, we have Isadora right now in 8th place in that Alfa Romeo. It's a very unique choice, and we haven't seen that car for the entirety of this tournament so far. But right now, the battle really is just there at 4th place as these drivers have to run for their lives as Ryan is on the hunt. But again, we saw that Ryan could pull something out of the hat. As we see, Ryan could basically fit a camel through the eye of a needle because Ryan just is Ryan. So at this point, right now, Miserable is in 10th place, and he has a pretty nice buffer from him of about 4 seconds to Wei Senpai, which is Dimitri Myers. So again, anything is possible. We still have 4 laps to go. Drivers can still make mistakes, and the position to watch right now is that battle for 4th. We saw Robin Dookie defend that position for around 8 laps and lost it all in the pits. Come back out in 6th and then making a massive mistake.
Beautiful action taking place between those 2 Porsches there in 4th and 5th position. Elder Warlord trying his best but not being able to make it stick. So he's still in 5th position. That's Bull and Elder Warlord. Bull fighting and defending nicely in the 4th position. Beautiful action. See what we were talking about this being one of the most exciting sim racing series taking place right now. Bull in 4th position, trying to guarantee himself in a position for the final. That's Elder Warlord trying his best as well. Heading again back up to the center S's, going wide. Elder Warlord trying his best to see if he can get into that position. They go side by side, but Bull taking the better, keeping it tight and keeping in the line, not giving a space to Elder Warlord. Elder Warlord is still in 5th position. This is oh my Trinidad and Tobago. That's an eSport Gran Turismo Sport Digital Cup 2020 taking place right here, right now. If you're just... he goes wide! Elder Warlord goes wide!
And he holds it. He's back on track and he's still within range of that gap. So
he's still within range. Yeah. He doesn't get a penalty. He didn't get 4 wheels off. So he's still in a good position. But this is where the battle is taking place. 4th and 5th position. We knew there would be battles here. We knew that the drivers would be trying to get into the finals right now tonight. But this is really a battle.
He's making a drive on the inside.
He's trying his best, but no, he closes the door. Bull closes the door on him.
The bubble is Nigel Pollard.
Nigel Pollard driving his heart out in this 13th lap, driving his heart out and trying to get the better of Elder Warlord. This is one for the ages, ladies and gentlemen. In the very first second semi-final of the very first TTASA eSports Gran Turismo Sport Digital Cup 2020 edition. Jose Sol has just come up with the fastest lap. That's Andrew Marsang has just come up with the fastest lap of a 131.443 for Andrew Marsang. He is still in the lead and comfortably in the lead at that. Just approaching the center S's at the moment himself. So he nearly 10 seconds ahead. Nobody seeing he bumper at the moment. He is so far ahead, Andrew Marsang. And this speaks exactly to that tire strategy issue that we've been talking about all along during the course of this session, during the course of this series.
So Andrew Marsong has been pulling the strategy back to back as he doesn't do the fastest laps, but he does the quickest pit stops that anyone's ever seen. So he has an F1 team in that pit stop, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, and he's out.
What 4 seconds, 5 seconds, but I'm not in the pit for about 3. It's too much. It's to tell you how fast he come out the pit. He literally take a splash of fuel and come out the pit. And now nobody can see him. That is how, I'm sorry, nobody can see him.
Let's jump back to that battle for 4th place and see what's going on with Darren Thomas and Nigel Pollard.
And Nigel Pollard. Let's see what's happening with that battle, because the 1st and 2nd seem set at the moment, but it's still going on. Bull is still in the lead in that 4th position. Remember, the 4th position is the final position that gets into the semi-final, into the finals. The finals is coming up on Saturday evening at 8 p.m. But tomorrow is the repechage race that takes place at 8 p.m. tomorrow evening as well. So please join us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. for the repechage. Let's see who gets into that pole position for the repechage race. Ravin has spun! Ravin Duki and a side-by-side as the two guys are coming through the center S's again. Very famous S-curve, because you have to slow so far down to get into that S-curve. It's always one of those opportunities to be able to try to take advantage of the braking, your braking point for the drivers. You're late braking, getting into that point, but that is something you can do anywhere around this track for the most part. Very, very technical track, Interlagos. One of the best tracks on the F1 calendar, and it is one of the best tracks presenting itself here now. While it looks like Eldo Warlord is trying to get on side. They're both side by side. It looks like he got it. Yes, he got it. Eldo Warlord making his way and gets into that 4th position. Pitbull is in 5th at the moment, giving up that position. So Eldo Warlord keeping on that pressure and gets into that 4th position in the 15th lap. We have one more lap to go to see whether or not that position changes. One more lap to go to see if Pitbull is able to get back. Not
so
Pitbull,
this
sorry.
is the
Bull.
So this is the penultimate lap. For trainees who don't know, the penultimate lap means the second to last lap. You set it up and you climb, so it's the second to last lap, and they're going to make their way onto the straight for the final, well, the second to last time.
But it is amazing the kind of commitment that Bull and Eldo Warlord are giving. If you're so close to the bumper, you can't see the track, but they are making an effort there now. You're so close to the bumper, you can't see the track, you can't see the curbing, but you're making the effort, and you're sticking with this driver and trying your best to see if the driver makes a mistake that you can take advantage of. Great racing from these two drivers. Great racing from all drivers in this series. So far, we've seen some very clean racing action, clean passes. Nobody's bouncing anybody to talk about. But everybody's driving well.
I would even go as far to say this is cleaner than some CMRC races.
I have no comment in that regard.
You always duck these questions.
These are one of the best racing series that we've seen in a while on the sim racing platform. We've been looking at a few, but we have seen that this one is turning out to be a ringer of an event as we continue to bring you the action here live. This is the TTASA eSports Gran Turismo Sport Digital Cup 2020 edition. This is the final lap. This is the final lap. We're coming up to the finish at the moment. 16 laps down. This is the final. And it looks like, don't say so, Andrew Marsang is going to take the checkered flag on this one. Don't say so, Andrew Marsang wins from pit with a beautiful strategy. Gets the better of AJ Forbes, who comes into 2nd position. AJ Forbes qualifies for the semi-final. AJ Forbes, yeah boy, gets in that 2nd position. In 3rd position, it's Kid Ink running a race by himself. But here we also have Eldo Warlord.
Very great race by Darrell Thomas, amazing race.
Eldo Warlord in 4th position, and they qualify for the semi-final. For the final. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I'm making mistakes, but I'm very, very happy to see this one come to an end. Right,
we have right in 7th place. In 9th place, we do have Roshan Ramnath, whose Bass works, and bringing up the final position for the repechage race, we have Dimitri Myers, otherwise known as Wave Senpai. So that is your 10 that you'll be seeing both tomorrow and Saturday for the finals.
Now I have to go outside and make an excuse to my neighbors as to explain to them what I'm shouting all this time. But I do, I do.
If you see the police outside, we just stay inside. It wasn't me.
People say I'm disturbing the peace, but it has been a fantastic semi-final. Brought to you the kind compliments of Motul Lubricants, Garage Fresh, Interchem, Renter Studio, TriniTuner.com, and of course Trap Speed Simulators. I'm out of breath. Luke, help me out here.
Okay, we had an amazing race there. Alan Forbes started off in P1, and with just in the pits, Andrew Marsong got the best of him. As those drivers didn't do much battling throughout the race, but Andrew did. He did basically it was like a trick shot, basically just saving as much as he can and just skipping him in the pit. So again, Andrew Marsong has the fastest pit crew that anyone has ever seen. Yep, all the buttons is what the man have. I think right now, I'm sure Brandon Brad Steele is soaking his hands in ice water because those fingers worked amazingly last race. So watching this race, he must have nerves just building up inside him. But again, these drivers did an amazing job. Anthony Vidal saved his position in third place. Robin Duki was not as lucky as he had a few incidents that saw him reach somewhere to the back of the pack. I believe Robin Duki finished outside of the top 10, meaning that he may have been eliminated from this race. But I am still yet to confirm this information, as I know the last position was held by Dimitri Myers. So again, we had a very tough luck for Robin Duki as he pushed himself down to 11th place after a few mishaps and some very good battles between him, Nigel Pollard, and Daryl Thomas. Again, Daryl Thomas getting the best out of the three of them, finishing in the top 4 spots, moving himself into the final. Again, Daryl Thomas is one of our not so famous motorcycle racers, but he's new to motor racing in Trinidad and Tobago. And basically, he saw the chance to just jump on his bike and race around some of the best in Trinidad and Tobago, namely myself, Keel, as well as Nicholas Gonzalez. But moving on from there, we also had in this turning out very well for Paul Bull as he fought for every corner with Daryl Thomas and he tried his best to defend. But again, just on that last lap, Daryl Thomas pulled his S-card and beat him out in the final 3 corners. Again, very good racing by Nigel Pollard, Paul Bull _GT, as well as Dion Small, who's Eastern Dora. We didn't touch on him much, but he did a very good job of staying consistent, staying out of trouble, and when guys spun, make the pass. Very simple rules here in GT Sport. Go faster than the man in front of you, go crash, and spend no time in the pits. Moving on from there, we also had Richard Rampersad, who had a very tough race as well, boy, being eliminated as he finished in 12th spot as he struggled to get grips with that Ferrari. Clearly, there were too many horses under the hood of that Ferrari to manage on this very technical Interlagos track, but very good show reaching this far in the competition as we have a lot of big names still fighting for position, even the repercharge grouping. The last person to qualify was Dimitri Myers, being Wei Senpai, and I believe I have covered everyone in the top 10. So we did lose in this race. I scratched out, I left out Roshan Ramnath. He finished 9th in this race, so again, he's moving on to Friday race as the drivers who are in the finals already have a day off to rest and relax and just do what they feel like, eat on doubles, take a nap, sing a song, or practice. Most drivers will be practicing, and Brandon have his fingers on ice right now. So that's about it. We also have Javid Bash Miserable, who finished in 8th place, and I believe that rounds out our top 10. Drivers eliminated were Robin Duki, Raptor 9446, and Richard Rampersad, well boy in his Ferrari. That's about it. Yeah, that's it.
So we have some information to share with you just before we wrap up the commentary this evening. We do have a special prize for first place at the final, but it won't be announced until tomorrow. I just got that information from one of the officials of TTASA. I want to thank Navin for sharing that with us. There is a special prize that will be announced tomorrow.
A special prize?
It had to be a special prize, yeah.
I feel the first prize was real special. What more special?
Yeah, so we will get that information and share that with you tomorrow. And we will, once that information is shared, we will be able to advise all drivers what that prize will be, along with all of the other prizes that they will be earning for the first 3 places. And just to give you an idea of what those prizes are, the drivers do have the opportunity in 3rd position to win a gaming headset for PlayStation, sponsored by Renter Studio, a Motul hamper, a trophy, and 3 event passes for 1 year when I'm
For
so
1
sorry.
year when Franklin Bootram International Raceway reopens.
I'm so sorry.
So that means you get to go to all the events, drag, circuits, drift, you name it, you're there.
The semi-finals still make me lose my voice, you know.
I know you're screaming at the people. But we did have some very, very exciting racing. And we still have a repertoire race with some very big names in it.
Exactly. In second place, the second place winner gets the gaming headset from PlayStation, sponsored by Rent a Studio. And I want to apologize for copying that. It was very unprofessional. But you all can well understand why.
Especially without a mask. Ray, where's your mask? They can't be copying in people's studio and be here with no mask on. Also, people, please keep wearing your mask. It is a matter of life and death here. Let's keep safe and get over this coronavirus thing pretty quickly.
Motul hamper, a trophy, a free event passes for 1 year. And of course, when events return to the Frankie Boudram Wallafield International Raceway. And we say a special good evening to the Frankie Boudram family, Frankie, Franklin, and Zachary. The guys who are racing still in Trinidad and Tobago. Frankie Boudram, a legend in and of himself. And of course, the indomitable Franklin, and of course, young Zachary, who's making up the race team. In first position, the drivers get a FIA-approved race whip helmet, sponsored by Garage Fresh, gaming headset for PlayStation, that's sponsored by Rent a Studio, Motul hamper, sponsored by Motul, of course, and a trophy, along with free event passes for 1 year when events return to Wallafield. So those are the prizes that the drivers are vying for, and that they will...
You left out one, Ray. You left out one, the special prize.
Yeah, the special prize. So there's a special prize that we will tell you about tomorrow evening. All right, guys? So that's it for us. We will put up those results in a few minutes. So if you stay tuned, you will see those results coming up in a few minutes. The results that you have already have an idea of in terms of the provisional, but the final results will come up in a few minutes so that you can take in that before the end of the feed this evening. Once again, we want to thank Mark Paulson for helping us with the technical issues. Mark, any words for us in terms of your big event coming up soon?
I will. I'll make my presentation tomorrow, guys.
Oh yeah, okay, Mark.
Call me, Mark. Just say, call me.
Luke,
Luke will get for Jersey.
Let's put it.
What?
Mark, Luke will get for Jersey.
Let's put it this way: the next event is pretty much exactly a month from now.
Okay, great.
Our old friends is my Jersey.
More details. That was not a play that for this man. Yeah, okay. But more details of that event will come up, and of course we will also have additional information with regard to the next TTASA event on this platform for you in due course. We want to thank Dwayne Budasing, Devi Nath, Gerard Wilson. We didn't hear much from Gerard this evening, but we know Gerard is there with us and supporting us. We do thank him very much. All of us are operating from home, ladies and gentlemen. We are not actually in a studio with one another.
Because we're coughing.
Because I am coughing, exactly. Yeah. So, and Luke can't take it when I shout.
Stop watching me like that, Ray. Stop watching me.
Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure and an honor for us to bring you the coverage of this semi-final round here this evening. We do look forward to seeing you tomorrow evening for the repertoire race, and we take it over to Luke to wrap it up.
Nice. I had one more thing to say, and as you throw it on like that, I forget what I was gonna say. But also, no, not at all. Check out Trentino.com as they post basically race recaps and wonderful write-ups done by Dwayne Budasing himself, and he would also let us know hopefully what race is taking place for the repertoire race, as well as follow TTASA on Facebook for that information as soon as it's posted. So drivers, look out for that. And also don't forget to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and share something. So if somebody asks him for salt, share the salt. But in this case, you're sharing some lovely racing. Thank you guys. We lovely having you, and it was great working with you, Ray, and Mark Pogson, and all the lovely marshals, Gerard Wilson, Devi Nat, Dwayne Budasing, and yeah, all the lovely sponsors. I
think we can call out the provisional. We could call out the provisional. Let's call out the provisional just before we go. One time, yeah.
We'll check it out.
Yeah, it was just posted in our chat. So in 12th position is Wellboy. Wellboy would have been relegated. He had 2 crashes. In 11th position is Raptor. He would have been relegated as well. We senpai. We senpai.
bro.
Yeah, we. You see, you have to have that Chinese influence to be able to say it properly.
Don't do it like that, Ray. We'll get flagged.
Senpai. No, that's all right.
Why senpai?
Let's see the fellas are saying it good. See the fellas are saying it nice. In 9th position was Baseworks. In 8th position was Miserable. Ryan finished in 7th overall. Eastern Dora in 6th. And Pull Bull in 5 after putting up that fantastic defense, was only able to manage to maintain his 5th position.
From 5 to 10, they'll be racing tomorrow.
Yeah, so they'll be racing tomorrow. From 5 to 10, they will be racing tomorrow. Luke?
Not like 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., but
5th position to
the 10th position.
Yeah.
Racing tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So tune
That's
back in
right.
tomorrow at 8 for some. We have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. Honestly,
No,
I've been guessing things.
We don't.
This race was tough to call. I could not have. I was off bad. Bad. Like Ravin Dookie was, he threw me off there. I didn't expect him to fall back in the pack. But again, just goes to show mistakes happen. And with a track like Interlagos, clearly anything can happen. Anything.
Clearly. So the track and the details related to the vehicle that will be used for the final will be shared tomorrow evening. So that's something to look forward to as well. What track will be used, what group of car will be used, that's also something to look forward to tomorrow evening. From me, on behalf of the team, farewell. See you tomorrow evening. Luke.
Farewell, so long. I forget what's this song. It's like from Bear the Blue House. But good night, guys. We out.